Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Hearthstone deck spotlight. My name is Tommy Wave, and today we'll be taking a look at another Kiwi and Bacon creation. This time it is the Murloc Priest, or Power Word Murloc as it has been called. This deck comes to us from over on Hearthstone. Definitely go check it out. Links, as always, are in the description. And what we've got here is a nice aggressive priest focused on the tribal Murloc synergies, of course. Deck that's trying to get your opponent dead pretty quickly, which is not usual for priest, especially lately with a lot of the inner fire decks moving towards a more controlling role, and with the Mechathune priests kind of slowly but surely fading away after a big start to the expansion. So we'll go through some of the card choices and explain why they're good and maybe why they're not so good. Anyway, so we've got, to start with, we've got this nice tight Murloc package. We saw this in the Murloc deck we played yesterday, the Tidecaller and Oracle opening. Obviously, we really want Tidecaller, and one of our best openers is Tidecaller into Rockpool Hunter. Just has a lot of resilience, makes it very hard to trade into. Your opponent has to have very specific spot removal for it in order to not get steamrolled by this card, because it really can just snowball out of control. We've also got a couple of great priest cards to go with it. We've got Northshire Cleric as well as Power Word Shield. So I mean, one of the plus sides of priest is it actually has a couple of very Northshire Cleric and Shadow Ascendant represent really tough threats to deal with in the early game that can, especially with Shadow Ascendant, really just put the game out of reach for quite a lot of decks. So it's interesting to play these cards in a proper aggressive shell, as opposed to what they're usually in, which is something like Spiteful or some kind of mid-range deck that's trying to get a little bit of value. I mean, looking for Shadow Ascendant to be really good in this deck. Moving on to the other two drops, we've got Bluegill Warrior. The Charge Boy can be used as removal in a pinch. We've got Mind Blast in here as a bit of reach, and I really like the two Mind Blasts in here. I think these are going to be very useful, because this deck can run out of steam, particularly if our opponent does have board clears and spot removal. We've also got Cold Light Seer at 3, as well as Murloc Wall Eater, the two kind of big upside cards for playing this kind of strategy. Cold Light Seer can help push our Murlocs out of the range of cards like Hellfire, make Defile very hard for our opponent, and Murloc Wall Eater can really put the pressure on, and this is a must-answer card for our opponent, otherwise it will just really take over the game, combined with, Bluegill Warriors hitting for 4, all your early drops suddenly hitting for 3 or 4 or even more. And to go with those, we've got 2 copies of Extra Arms. This is the first card that I'm really unsure of. I think that in most situations, especially without Radiant Elemental in the deck, a lot of the time I'd prefer Unidentified Elixir, particularly getting the modes of creating a copy of things can be quite useful with Murloc Wall Eater or Tidecaller or Oracle. The Divine Shield mode can make trading very easy. The Lifesteal mode can, if you're up against, say, like Zoo Warlock or something like that, could be very useful in a race situation. So I kind of like Unidentified Elixir a bit more than Extra Arms, so we'll be definitely taking a good look at Extra Arms to make sure that it's doing its job. We've also got Mirage Caller in here, so this is just like what we were talking about with the Unidentified Elixir, the getting extra copy mode. If we hit our Murloc Wall Eater, obviously that's going to give all our Murlocs an extra 2 attack. If we hit the Northshire Cleric, Tidecaller, Oracle, all of these are fantastic cards to just have an extra 1/1 copy of. So I really like Mirage Caller. Shoutouts to Kiwi for including this one in the deck. Onto the 4s, we've got a 1-off Cult Master for a bit of card draw. I can definitely see bumping this up to 2. Having played decks like Token Druid in the past, like really aggressive Token Druids, can definitely attest to the power of Cult Master as a draw engine, as a way for us to, get into some of our reach, these Mind Blasts, these Bluegill Warriors, maybe hit the end of our deck, the top end, with a couple more card draws, close out the game. We've also got Gentle Megazord, another big payoff card for being Murlocs. Hits the curve quite nicely after our Wall Eaters and Seers come down. Adapts all our Murlocs, so we're looking for like Wind Fury, or +3 attack to close the game out. Maybe some Divine Shield for some resiliency, even some Death Rattle in case our opponent does have a board clear, will keep us in the game. 1-off Master Spell, I assume for a lot of those situations where you just get rolled by taunts, particularly Taunt Druid, decks like that, as also an out to Spreading Plague. So I really like this one. We saw this in our budget priest deck. that Master Spell definitely helps a lot of those aggressive priest lists close out the game. And the last two cards here are two other ones that I'm really unsure of. A one of Tortolan Shellraiser and a one of Holy Nova. Tortolan Shellraiser, I can definitely appreciate having a taunt in the deck. Or some kind of taunts. We've seen that with Tar Creeper in the past. It's very good at protecting our brittle minions and our important minions, and this deck does have a lot of important minions like War Eater, like Tidecaller and stuff, but maybe the Shellraiser is just hitting the curve a turn too late. Maybe we'd prefer to have like a Tar Creeper or something like that, or maybe we just prefer having another aggressive option in the deck. And Holy Nova, I think this one has a bit more merit to it, especially as a board clear, and like I was saying, if we do face another minion-based deck, Holy Nova can really help us break the like a stalemate or break an even board position. You know, and particularly when we don't have a lot of like charged minions in this deck, or other than the Blue Ghoul Warriors, we don't have a lot of ability to really get back on board strong. So I think I can appreciate the Holy Nova, but we'll definitely be keeping an eye on these cards here, because one noticeable omission from the deck is the Murloc Tidehunter. You know, the curve of Tidecaller into Tidehunter is just a really strong one. The Tidecaller starts hitting so hard so early. You've got a bunch of pieces on the board that you can trade into your opponent's minions. So yeah, just something to keep in mind is we'll be keeping an eye on these cards and seeing if the Tidehunters would be a bit of a better fit. Without further ado though, let's jump into some games and see how we go. Okay, here up against the Warlock. Tidecaller Cleric, War Leader. I think we keep all of these. Those part of me is like, maybe we should send back the Cleric and just keep the Murlocs, or send back the Murlocs and just keep the Cleric, especially against Warlock. I think we'll hedge and just keep everything here. Especially if we're keeping the War Leader, we send like one of these back and... This is an interesting draw to navigate, especially against what's likely to be Zoolock.
Truth is found in death.
Is someone injured?
Yeah, we'll trade here. Well, we got the Holy Nova against the in the matchup where Holy Nova is supposed to be most useful, but after a turn 2 Kaliseth, this Holy Nova isn't killing much, especially if this is a couple of... I'm unsure if oh my gosh, I don't want to have to trade off this other Tidecaller. I guess we don't have to, right? Like, our opponent can make the choice, but if they have like a Soulfire, then they can Soulfire the War Leader and just trade with the Tidecaller.
Right away.
It's not my favorite thing to do, is to trade these really high value one drops, high synergy cards, especially with a War Leader out, but we really can't let our opponent get on the front foot. Yeah, the Kaliseth's gonna be brutal over time as well. There's the Soulfire, so happy that we that's a chain gang. Right on time. Alright. So extra arms is looking okay here. Just okay, I think.
Why do you call
Oof. There's a big Void Walker.
I must consider.
What is real?
What is real? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No more. Okay. See if our opponent can have a nice chunky turn. They're already happy cooldown, which is very good. Okay. What are we doing here? We can get some more arms over on this thing, trade over here, get some more arms on this, trade with the imp.
I must consider.
Right away.
Think again.
So they can either have our cleric for their imp, or they can leave it in play and just trade one. Okay, that's very nice. Does let us potentially hole in over this down. Oh, that's pretty bad. Yeah, this Caliseth is really really wrecked out. That curve. I guess we didn't need to more arms it, right? Like, it's gonna trade with anything. Maybe we should just more arms the war leader. Oh, I guess if we need to do it so it trades after they kill the war leader.
How long can this go on? How long can this go on?
Okay.
It's playtime.
No, I would say that we have gotten
You are the shadow's perfect.
properly dunked here. Yeah.
You have best.
Unfortunately, I mean, we had a great start. We had a nice opener, but I think we were just forced to trade too often. Maybe we should have just gone face and allowed our opponent to get ideal trades off, but, you know, that turn where they could have, you know, soul-fired our war leader and traded into the Tide Caller would have, yeah, that would have been devastating. So, you know, maybe it just allowed us to survive a couple more turns. Anyway, we'll be back with another one.
Versus Garrosh.
Okay. Warrior time.
The light shall bring victory.
I mean, that is a 1-2-3 curve. I guess we'll keep it. Not the best one drop, of course. And maybe given that we have both Tide Caller and Cleric, we should be sending it back, but I mean, hey, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 curves. If our opponent just does absolutely nothing, they might be in for a drumming. No turn 1 Eternium Rover either. It's a good sign for us. Tank up. I think we'll just continue on our curve here.
Out of my jungle!
Sweet. So follow up with a war leader. We'll get So we should be careful of Reckless Flurry, but they can't Reckless Flurry next turn. They can have Whirlwind, they can't have Warpath, they can't have Blood Razor.
I wonder.
What are we trying to play around here? HS Replay, help me. Dex, Filter, Warrior, Odd Warrior.
I must consider.
Odd Warrior. What are you going to do to me? Shield Slam, MC Tech? We should play around MC Tech. And we can just coin this Grimscale and Megazord.
Out of my jungle!
Infinite Stonehill Defenders. And the Rover off the top. Wow, this is definitely the worst selection of adapts that we could have gotten. Huh. Yep, that was not great.
Light the fuses!
Happy to Cult Master trade.
Is someone injured?
They didn't have MC Tech last turn, so I think we'll stop playing around it. Next turn we can maybe extra arms up our
Engaging TC.
oh my gosh. Does that off the top too? We've been getting destroyed by MC Techs this last week. Admittedly, this isn't the worst that could happen. Oh, we can't even target our Oracle. Phenomenal.
Right away.
Definitely getting into the brawl and
Rush the enemy!
reckless fire territory. That's okay. That's I mean, it's pretty bad, but it's not the worst. Mind Blast. Don't mind that. Definitely Mind Blast now to get rid of that armor. Make sure that they can't, that if they want a Reckless Flurry, they have to spend their mana. Hatcherino. Alright, how are we going to bust this down? Holy Nova.
Job done.
Okay. I don't know what cards our opponent could possibly... Is this like both Omega Assemblies? Wow, they just ripped it off the top, eh? Mirage Caller. Do we want an extra Oracle or an extra Tide Caller? If we get an extra Oracle, then this is 6. I
must consider.
This will be a 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we have to trade this turn regardless.
What is real?
6, 7, 8, 9, 6. Yeah, guess we have to. Come on, deck. Let me rip that Master Spell off the top when our opponent tries to sit behind this Lich King. Damn it. Damn it. No. I think we're done. Don't think any of our... I don't think anything can really save us. So...
You have best.
Not there. Definitely had a couple of turns where we really could have pressed the advantage, and we had the ideal curve, but... Jeez. MC Tech was pretty good. And they had the, they got the Matriarch off the top as well, which was, not exactly backbreaking for us. We definitely had some outs that were fine against it, but I'm sure it just, you know, it gave our opponent a really good option, for that turn, which let them kind of, you know, let the game go on long enough for them to, turn the corner. But, see if we can get a win.
Bring victory.
Alright, here is the Warrior. Keep our Rock Pool Hunter, send everything else back. Hopefully we can pick up a Tide Caller or an Oracle. Nope.
None will survive.
Okay, Odd Warrior. Again.
Cleaning condenses.
That doesn't feel great. This Rover does all kinds of, Oh. Didn't want to, See if they want to rattle off a Shield Slam.
Out of my
Negative. I think we just go for the on-curve Cold Light Seer here. They have the Reckless Flurry. Oh gosh, Mono Stonehill Defenders. Poisonous or Death Rattles? I'm gonna go for the Death Rattles. Whilst Poisonous is more damage immediately, these rattles mean that if we get brawled, we're still safe. Though, See if our opponent has the MC tech. No, there's the brawl. That's exactly what we wanted. Not exactly. We planned for this. See if they have the... I don't know. Brawling into a board like that may kind of speak that our opponent has another board clear. So we'll hold back these for just a turn. Rover?
Unity.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty good. You gain the armor? You gain the health. You don't get it. Shadow Ascendant.
You are the Shadow's puppet.
It's possible we should have gone for the draw there, rather than the Shadow Ascendant. But, I don't know, they didn't have a board clear last turn, so maybe this Shadow Ascendant's going to get a couple of ticks off. Though, then again, healing this puts it out of the range of Hero Power Reckless Flurry. Come on, Master Spell. Not today.
Is someone injured?
There's a Shellraiser. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
What is real?
You are the Shadow's puppet.
What is real?
Bing.
That's just like a real Shadow Ascendant. Here's the Reckless Flurry.
Tortola, preserve us.
Stonehill defenders definitely done a lot of work for our opponent. Really helped them find a curve.
Shells up.
Shells up, nerds.
Engaging TC-130 until gusto.
Oh my gosh. I just never want to play a 4th minion ever again. Oh. Alright, let's take a look at the deck. Look, I'm not sure if we hit a couple of bad matchups there or whatnot, but I liked a lot of the card selections. I think Extra Arms was totally spot on. We're totally wrong about the Unidentified Elixir. I think Extra Arms is probably the correct choice, because there were a lot of games where we really just got quite grindy. We ran out of resources, and just having, you know, this card represent 2 cards is actually really good. Never hit the Master Spell. But yeah, I think as far as the Shell Razor goes, the Holy Nova was fine, but I think we might want to find just just an extra thing to help push our game plan in the early game. I'd even consider like an Ironbeak Owl or something like that, or yeah, something along those lines. Try and find the right kind of card that maybe helps us against board clears or helps us against other decks that are trying to trade into us. Anyway, if you are watching this video on YouTube, all the links are down in the description, including a link over to the Hearthstone deck article. Jump over there, give Kiwi and Bacon a +1, leave him a lovely, thoughtful comment, as I know you will. My links are down there as well, including my Twitter, which is @Tommy_Wave. That's the best place to catch me if you've got a sweet deck that you want to see me play, or if you just want to yell profanities at me. You can do that there. But until next time, please stay safe, stay wavy, and never play a 4th minion, ever, just ever. Bye. I hope you enjoyed that video. Check out other ones over here, or come subscribe to the Wave Pool for more excellent times.